Hey, this is Randy. Do you have those phrases that your narcissist had said that just will not get out of your head? You're still trying to understand what they meant by it or why they said it. So one of mine is, "Sweetheart, I'll never find anyone as good as you." Okay, so I heard that quite consistently during the idealization phase, and I would hear it intermittently later on after the idealization had worn off. So what did he mean by that? Did he really mean that when he said that? Because that doesn't go along with the narcissist that thinks they're better than everyone else. Although, yeah, in thinking about it, they might. I mean, just because he thinks he's better than everybody else, he wasn't saying I'm better than him. He was saying he's never going to find anyone as good as I am. So basically, he found the best person he could find. But did that mean at the time? Was the rest of the sentence that he said in his head, "I'll never find anyone as good as you, but I sure as hell am going to keep looking"? What did he mean by good? Did he mean, "I'll never find anyone who loves me as much as you do"? I think he's pretty right on that one. He would be correct, because he did definitely know how much I loved him. I showed it, and it was very obvious for a very long time. He knew I loved him. There's no doubt about it. Maybe that was my problem. Maybe I should not have shown him that, but that's what you do when you're in love. You want the person to know it, and you show it, because that's what's natural. And, maybe he knew I loved him too much, and he thought, well, she loves me unconditionally, I can do whatever I want. And so slowly tested the boundaries, started doing things to see how much I would take, and I did take things intermittently. I'd get pissed, I'd stand up for myself, he'd stop, he'd pull back, he'd start being nice again, and the whole cycle would start all over. He'd push the boundary again, a different boundary, a new boundary, I'd set the limit, he'd pull back, he'd start ingratiating, and then it'd be okay for a while, and then boom, starting again, pushing a boundary or devaluing in some way. I'd get mad, wouldn't want to have sex, he'd call me asexual. I mean, on and on and on. But I still got, "Sweetheart, I'll never find anyone as good as you." Now, I have pretty good self-esteem, so that wasn't anything that was shocking to hear. It was something that it was nice to hear. I was glad to hear it. I actually would have to agree with them. Truly, I truly did not think, and still do not think, he can find anyone as good as me. And good to me would mean kind of like the whole package. A certain level of attractiveness, responsibility, intelligence, fun, personality, humor, ability to love, all that. So, I mean, I wouldn't say he lucked out with me, but I'd say he got a nice deal. I felt like he was equal to me, definitely, at the beginning, and that I was equal to him. He started showing his true colors, and I started feeling like he was not actually good enough for me. So I kept trying to make him better, trying to get him to do to reach his potential that I had seen earlier. And it wasn't just because he was idealizing me. I had seen a potential because he was actually closer to it. He was more motivated when he was younger. And that facade, I mean, I figure if you can fake it to make it, then you can just make it. If that's, even later on, I didn't think he was faking it at the time, but now that I think he was faking it, it's like, well, since you faked it, why don't you just fake it again? If you're capable of faking what it means to be a good man, why don't you just fake it all your life till you die, you know? Why even let that mask down? Well, it's because they get grandiose, they decompensate, they unravel, they don't deal with issues, the issues build up, they explode, they start getting real delusional, and they are unable to hold that mask together anymore. They can't, this facade that they have built that makes them seem like they're kind of a nice person, or at least a decent enough person, okay? They build that up, and, you know, I guess I'm just mad that he couldn't maintain it. I'd rather just go to my deathbed and never know that he was the narcissist. Just, you know, maintain yourself. Like I said, fake it till you make it. But what did he mean when he was saying, I'll never find anyone good enough, as good as you? Was the rest of that, behind that meant, well, but I'm always going to keep looking? Or, I haven't found anyone as good as you yet, but when I do, you'll be out? I would have never guessed that, because, you know, I figure the more you've got invested with someone, the more invested they are in you, and the more committed you are to each other. You're not looking for somebody else who's better. You know, because there's always going to be somebody who looks better on the surface anyway. And you can't compare a new person who looks and seems better to you initially, because hopefully you realize that, you know, initial attraction wanes and you don't even know that person. So, I mean, when you get 10, 15 years down with somebody and you've got that kind of investment, you're just a fool to waste that kind of investment on somebody new who you do not know, because it may take you another 10 to 15 years to get to know that person and they're worse. Or it might only take 2 years to get to know them better and they're worse. And here you've dumped the person that was much better for you. And that's what I feel has happened to me. You know, I guess even if he wasn't a narcissist, he's a damn fool. But that sentence that he said just keeps coming back to me. Sweetheart, I'll never meet anyone as good as you. And I certainly know that's true now, more than ever. Hope he's suffering. Hope he's in misery. Hope he realizes something, you know. But is he going to keep making the same mistakes over and over again? Yes, he is. Because that's what narcissists do. They don't learn from their mistakes. So what thing keeps playing back in your mind over and over that was said that bugs the shit out of you? Either try to understand what their real meaning was, or why they said it in the first place, how they love bombed you in a way that, like, anyone with any kind of clear conscience, which we now know they don't have, could ever say to you and not mean. Thanks for listening.